Recording started.
This is like the second time in a week with this person that I feel like I have to disagree with them about disagreements I'm having with other people. And that's not what you want. Don't want to disagree with her about disagreements with other people. Also, it's just really deflating when it happens so fucking quickly. So in one case, about my sister, she straight up came to me representing my sister. I felt like there was a lot more for her to understand about the situation before she could pass judgment. And it's a point of annoyance for me that I feel like my sister puts all of the responsibility for our lack of communication on me, whereas I think it's shared. And right, boom, my girl comes in, hey, you know, your sister really loves you. You should call her. You didn't even ask her about blank. And I told her that you were proud of her, and it was like she'd never heard that before. Like, damn! I've never even explained to you what's going on with me and my sister. Damn! I don't want to, I don't want to argue my perspective, because maybe you're right. Damn! But I definitely don't feel safe sharing my perspective, because damn! You have 0 questions for me? You're coming in that hot? Damn, I get it. You're trying to help. So, whizzy addy, right? What you see is all there is. So, my sister had talked to her. Hey, I mean, she hadn't, said anything directly, but they're having a conversation. And, she probably said, oh, yeah, Eris is awesome. Eris is so wonderful. And then she was also saying that, I was really struggling with my breakup. And then maybe Fernanda said, hey, well, you know, did you talk to your brother about it? And and my sister goes, well, I didn't really know how to start the conversation, because I know that I can talk to him, but also I didn't know whether he was busy. He hadn't asked me how I was feeling about it, which is not to say that he doesn't care at all, but just that, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm someone who sometimes doesn't want to impose my feelings on others, which is me. But yeah, so I haven't talked to him much about it, and he hasn't really asked much about it. But I do know that if I absolutely need to, and I call him up, I'm like, hey bro, please make time for me, I need to talk to you, then he will listen, and he will make that time, which is cool. But yeah, I guess that's why I haven't really, but I should, yeah, you're right, I should try to talk to him about it, yeah, for sure, because he also has pretty good advice, really good advice, and he's a great listener. So yeah, thanks, girl. Yeah, I should reach out to him about that. Or maybe, and then with the crying about the pride thing. Oh my gosh, that means so much to me that you say that to me. And, I know that he's proud of me, but, still, you don't hear it every day. So it's just really cool to be reminded of that every once in a while, And so then Fernanda hears this stuff, and she's not thinking I'm the bad guy or anything. But she is thinking that it's pretty simple. That, you know, it would be beneficial to Cairo, to my relationship with Cairo, if I were to reach out a little bit more. And so she came to me with that. Hey, you know, hey, Eris, I like you a lot. I think you're great. You know, maybe you don't know, but I think Cairo wants you to reach out to her a bit more. And then she thought that I would say, oh, shit, okay, yeah. Definitely, thank you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't reach out to her enough. And, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And I love her a lot, and I think she's awesome. So I'll reach out to her more. And, you know, thanks for reminding me. Instead, that's not how I responded. Instead, it was like, whoa. You've known my sister for a few days. You've been dating me for a month and a half. Are you sure you're... But she didn't even see it as a sides thing. She just thought that I didn't know this thing, I guess. Yeah. She just thought it was as simple that Cairo and I were good, but there's just something I don't know that Cairo hasn't expressed to me directly. And so she was just going to express that to me to close any gap that I didn't even know existed. That's probably what she was thinking. Yeah, let's write that down. So she didn't see it as Fern didn't see it as a disagreement. Had no idea. You know, I had no idea I could feel like she was picking a side. So she didn't see it as a disagreement. Just thought of herself as a little messenger. Helpful messenger. A provider of info that would be useful to me. And I didn't know I didn't know. No, I didn't have. Yeah, so then she was probably really thrown off when I'm like, whoa. You sure you want to talk on this? You know, and for me, I was saying, you sure you want to talk that on this instead of, you know, getting some more information? But she was like, she heard, you sure you want to get involved in this shit? Which is kind of what I was saying. And she was probably really thrown off by the whole, you're going to pick a side, yo? She's like, what the fuck? I'm not picking a side. You guys are brother and sister. You guys have a great relationship. You guys love each other. I just thought, you know, she seems to be kind of suffering because she doesn't hear from you enough. So I just thought I'd fill that gap. But not that you're like doing that intentionally or nothing, brother. See, as a matter of fact, I am doing it intentionally. Because it's dangerous talking to my sister. She misinterprets shit, in my opinion. And it can get dramatic quickly, in my opinion. So, and I feel guilty about it. I know that she wants me to reach out more and that she thinks that it's as simple as that. And she thinks it's as simple as that I can just choose to say the things that she wants to hear. But I have trouble knowing what she wants to hear, number one. And number two, even when I think that I'm saying what she wants to hear, that's often not what she hears. And that leads to tears. And I don't like causing her tears. So, yeah. And then also, I just feel like I have to keep my mouth shut because I know that there's a lot she doesn't want to hear. such as if I think that she misinterpreted something. And this is here, and I know you're saying, well, wait, why are you telling her she's misinterpreting something? I don't think that this, see, this is tricky. This is tricky. So what business do I have telling her she's misinterpreting something, given the first recount rule? And the first recount rule is if you're the first, if it's the first recounting of a story and the recounter expresses skepticism of self, then you should only support / sympathize. All right, one. I don't know how to evaluate, but I don't see the questioning of self that, and she doesn't see it in me, which is funny. So, gosh, it all feels meaningless because we can't test we haven't figured out a way to actually evaluate any of these claims. So I don't know what good it is to make them. So the question is, with Fernanda, did I meet this criteria of expressing skepticism of self? Well, yeah, because all she did was repeat it back to me. She called me and I was typing a message. So I explained to her the message that I was typing. All right, so let me explain. So, I've got a few people that I have been Zooming and chatting with over the past year. I mean, one of them over the past year, and then the others more recently, about it theory. By the way, comment if you want to get in on this shit. And about a month ago, 3 of us got together. First time it wasn't one-on-one. And so we are in the process of me trying to explain the work I've done and what I've come up with so far. And then the idea, and then I'm also telling them the stuff I want to figure out with them in the future. The projects I want us to do, like map it, the different Alaris techniques, stuff like that. So first I got to get them caught up by explaining it theory to them so that they can, evaluate it and tell me issues with it and so on. So we can discuss these things. And also I get the practice of explaining it and so on, testing out the explanation, and so it's great. So 2 weekends ago, I'm running through the basic explanation that Chris has already heard. And I'm running through it for Sarah. And Chris says, I'm like, sorry, so Chris, you want to add anything to that? And Chris goes, and this should be in a dash cam video. Chris goes, all right, well, this morning I chose violence. So Sarah and so I'm like, all right. And because I when I hear that, I'm eager. Okay, great. I'm a little bit confused because I haven't even really seen Chris demonstrate an understanding of it, all of it theory. There are certain components that I think he's got, even if I haven't really heard him articulate them, which was what kind of this moment was. I was hoping to hear him articulate some things about it theory. to Sarah. I think that's what was happening, so that I could gauge where we're at as far as where his understanding is. But okay, great. So so you've got counter stuff. Okay, great. So he but that's what so anyways, he says, I chose violence this morning. I've got a few things here. So then he lists them, and he says a bunch of things that I guess are meant to be, that are rebuttals of it theory. I didn't really understand any of them, and some of them seemed not based on biology. He kept talking about the RNA going into receptors. I didn't understand that. Or maybe that's what he was saying. I'm not sure I'm remembering correctly. He was also like saying that it theory, or maybe the 4 R's, the recognition, reflection, research. No, that's what he said the time before. And by the way, in the past, he's had rebuttals that didn't seem based on an understanding of it theory, which is okay. This is also how we sort that. And it wasn't about the laughter. It was about that. I was like, at some point, I was like, we can't keep going back and forth about this. Oh yeah, and there was his philosophy comment, bro. Oh, that's a big deal. But in the past, when he's had a rebuttal that didn't really make any sense to me, and I would tell him, I feel like this rebuttal isn't really, there's a fundamental misunderstanding happening here. And usually would sort that out, and he would come around. So I was a little bit thrown off. How do you have like a whole set of things about it theory, and then I'm listening to those things, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Nucleic acids going into receptors? What does that have to do with it theory? And is that even a thing? What are we talking about? There was also a lot of philosophy. So one, there was like RNA and receptors. 2, and we had this beautiful moment about recognition where he was like, I don't think that recognition is the right word. I don't know that critical recognition is a good term. And then I gave him what I think a common but not good definition of critical thinking would be. And critical recognition is a component of critical thinking. And one of the things I listed in a definition of critical thinking was that avoiding our biases, which is nonsense to me. And his response was, I don't think it's about avoiding our biases so much as recognizing them. And I was like, boom. It wasn't intentional at all, but I was like, boom. I didn't say that. I was like, oh, well, okay, well, there you go. Did you hear what you just said? And he was like, oh, wow, that's beautiful. Now I understand why it's critical recognition. So we've had productive, healthy sort of back and forths like this. This at this moment for me wasn't intended to be where I want to first get Sarah somewhat on board, get her familiar, so that even she could participate, At some point he does say, hold on. So he talks about RNA and receptors. At some point, we're kind of going back and forth. And I felt like we had gotten now so off topic. Oh, right. There was something about what is the value. Oh my God. We started talking about religion and whether. Oh, yeah. Maybe I was talking about the value of recognition. And he was like, I don't really see the value. He was like, give me an example of a world conflict that's about differing ideas of truth. So I said Israel Palestine. He said that's a bad example. I was like, what do you mean? And then I said that there's a religious component to it, and that religions themselves are claims to truth. And he said, no, they're not. They're fictions. And I was like, right, but they're still claims to truth, even if they are false claims to truth. And he asked Sarah to get involved and, let us know whether one of us is talking crazy. Sarah did not say that I was talking crazy. That was a big thing. Our religion's claims to truth. And also, like, a lot of the things he was saying, it just didn't seem even appropriate to the fact that he was talking to two atheists. He sounded like he was arguing with two religious people. And he has done that before, where it's like, what are we where it's like I've in a conversation, I've accidentally triggered a certain speech that he tends to give to religious people, or a certain idea that he has, which is great because I love that he's so expressive with his ideas. But sometimes we also have to regulate each other, right? I need to be regulated in conversation. If I start going off on a tangent, and it's confusing to people and it's taking away from whatever the main thing is, you got to regulate me. I don't mind regulating other people. Hold on. You seem to be going in that direction. I'm not understanding why. Could you hold on to that? Could you jot that down? And could we come back to that another time? We're a social species. We're meant to regulate each other. We're meant to not be so sensitive that we feel like, no, how dare you? No, we have to regulate each other, bros. That's a conversation, bro. That's a conversation. We don't each have a podium. We stand up. We speak for as long as we want. We pass the microphone. That's playing dress up. That's bullshit. The talking stick, whatever. That's bullshit. We're not children. We should know how to give and take and, regulate each other in a conversation. Okay, if you need a talking stick for children, fine. So that they can see what it's like to regulate themselves. Great. And then once you learn how to regulate yourself a bit, practice regulating others and being regulated by others, because there's no fucking talking stick, because we have to put that stick in the fire to keep us warm, as we sit around it. God. So, let's jot that down. Regulate each other. Now, Chris is fine at interrupting or at not being interrupted, so at regulating an interrupter. I think that's true. There's no mediator around the campfire. There's just us to regulate each other. to let us feel comfortable sharing our ideas, knowing that we're not going to hog all the time because someone else is going to regulate, knowing that we're not going to make utter fools of ourselves because someone else is going to go, wait a minute, that sounds wrong. And then we can still continue with the idea, and we will discover if it is wrong, because everybody's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The more you say, the wronger that sounds. You know, but gosh, we're all children playing dress up, so it's like we have no concept of the value of interacting. We just feel like it should just be free expression to the other people, that we're not like supposed to be interacting. It's unfortunate. And it's not c'est pas intéressant. It's not valuable, it's not useful for a group of people that wants to come to understand something. This is not a book club. This is not a social validation club. There should be validation, because that's what you need in a team. But not at the expense of authenticity, honesty, and progress. Now you need a lot of validation for progress. You need people to feel comfortable, sharing their ideas, sharing their reactions. But if for those people to feel comfortable sharing their ideas, all of their ideas have to be validated, there is an issue. Okay, because the point of your ideas is not for you to be validated, it's to contribute them to the group. So it's not good if all of your ideas are rejected. Hopefully hopefully we're able to see some of the value in something, so that you feel like you are useful. But you don't need to feel like you are saying the gospel, okay? Being useful versus saying gospel, okay? Now, by the way, what else about? So we got the RNA and the receptors. There's also a moment where he has been stuck on current language, on what words currently mean, right? And I think this might be new for him, this idea of inventing words. So he's preoccupied with where their thinking currently is, whereas I'm trying to tell him where the research currently is. And hold on, the woman we're about to talk about just texted. That kept her busy helping people, but it didn't pay much. And she found another job where she didn't have to work very much and wasn't going to be helping anyone. The correct answer for her would be to do the more involved job that helps people and doesn't pay much. Those desires, I think, or hope, would win out against the desire for Mercedes. RNA and receptors. Oh, yeah. So it seems to have a little bit of trouble with, in general, with like... let's get the mics. Okay, so, anyway, but we can talk while we're doing that. And that's okay. I think that he's going to... I think I'm going to be able to contribute a lot to his... I don't know. I know this sounds arrogant to say this. And it's only arrogant if it's inaccurate. And it's especially very arrogant if I completely fail to acknowledge how that might be inaccurate. So let me acknowledge that I've only known the guy for a couple of months. So it's only, but yeah, sometimes I just get the feeling that maybe he hasn't gotten as much practice um, as I have maybe. He hasn't gotten as much practice. Oh, fuck off. I moved that. Creating new ideas. I just want to go to the dictionary, but it's like, what are we going to look at the dictionary for? Unless we're trying to see that they already have a word for the definition we're coming up with, in which case, good. But we can't. If this is a new concept, we're not going to really have much to compare. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so tell me what you think. Look at the thing. Tell me what you think. Watch the video of us. All right. Anyway, so at one point, I guess I'm trying to explain that to him. Hey, Neil, you want to come inside? Oh, come on, buddy. Oh, man, you couldn't do that out there? All right. Bed? Can I go get your water when the rain stops, bro? Okay, I'm so sorry. I know I've wasted your time. But just remember, I don't like wasting your time. I just feel like it's the only way I can make videos is by wasting your time a little bit. So I apologize. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I should not have been. I'm sorry. All right, let's just get to it. All right. So I tried to explain to him, or I told him, we're doing philosophy here. I'm a philosopher. We're actually in the process of inventing shit. So I don't understand all the, the checking of the shit we're inventing according to what already is. In some ways that's good, but anyway, look, either you're looking for errors in what I'm saying, or you're just open to errors in what I'm saying. If you're looking for them, you're going to be like, well, that doesn't make any sense, Eris. But if you're just open to them, you can see how that does make a little bit of sense. In any case, so he makes some comment like, oh, we're just doing philosophy? I thought we were actually trying to do something useful. I wish you hadn't presented it to me that way. If you had presented it to me as we're doing philosophy, then I would have, I'd get my pipe, I'd hang out, I'd smoke, and, we could just shoot the shit. Now I'm really confused. because I told him I'm a philosopher, and and the ideas I've come up with are philosophy, you know, based on research, but that's what philosophy has to be. I mean, the original philosophy, there wasn't a whole lot of research, I guess. But now we have more, so it's just based on observation and reflection. But now we can observe other people's really, really cool observations, right? Called their scientific research, and reflect on that. So that's what we're doing. So I was really thrown off by that. And I told him the etymology of philosophia or soph or whatever. And so he changed his tune, you know. Oh, okay, when you put it like that, okay, I see. Another point that he made was, he was like, how do you know that it theory is true? How do you know that it isn't just an illusion produced by the brain? And brother, have you been listening? Everything is something just produced by the brain that we can't really know, and we can't really know how much it resembles reality. Everything. That's the whole point. This is why I'm explaining to you guys, to at least first run it by you guys, see whether what you guys think. And everything might be an illusion. And even if you guys validate it, it could just be an illusion. And because we're all humans, that makes sense to us. We're all U.S. Americans. We're all millennials. So even if it makes sense to the three of us, we're still not going to know whether it's an illusion or not. And he seemed pretty proud of his whole point that it might be an illusion. And it's like, all right, but what do we do with that? Because we could just stop. And something that he often says is, we can't trust humans, so we should just leave it to AI. And I generally agree with that we can't trust humans. But I also know that, and I've worked with ChatGPT on this stuff, and I know that ChatGPT isn't there yet, isn't able to invent this shit herself. At least not in my experience. Which is lucky, because then I wouldn't have much of or I'd have to find a new purpose. So, at some point when he's talking about the whole might be false and AI, and I don't think he said it first. I said it because I thought that's where he was going with it. I was like, no, but it's like you usually say, AI is going to answer these questions better than we will. And we could just wait for that. But I think might as well try to make some progress on this, because it's enjoyable and might be useful. So at some point I say to him, after he's been saying that it theory might be wrong, and I'm like, no shit, and that AI can help us, and I'm like, in the future, I'm like, no shit. I say to him, all right, and I feel like we're just going back and forth, and it feels like he's disagreeing with everything, disagreeing about Israel versus Palestine being a religious thing, disagreeing about whether people's awareness of their thought processes and how unreliable they are could contribute to less violent disagreement, because there'd be more humility, more awareness that